historic room in all of the United States. I mean, just give yourself a moment to imagine some of the people in this room during the 18th century. I mean, we had names like John Adams, his cousin, Samuel Adams, Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and even George Washington. All of these men, and many more in this room at one point or another in the 18th century, was able to establish what we know today as the United States of America. So, we're going to pick up where we left off. The colonists at this point were trying to find a way that they could get their voices back within the British government, trying to get on equal grounds with the citizens over there in Great Britain. And as they're doing this, conflict starts to break out, and now we are engulfed in a battle. So, we go on for another year. None of these positions we're sending over are getting received back to us. War goes on. Now we're in a bind. Many people think the only way ever going to get representative government in this country is to create it ourselves. In June of 1776, there's a man who comes from Virginia. His name is Richard Henry Lee. He comes into this Congress and he says, "These colonies of right and ought to be free and independent states." Now they're going to debate this concept of independence over the next month. While they're doing this, there's going to be a 33-year-old Virginian by the name of Thomas Jefferson who will start writing what we've now called today the Declaration of Independence. What this is they're going to try to explain to the people why we're declaring independence. There are a couple parts to it. So the first part is there are a list of 27 different grievances and problems that the Americans had against King and Parliament. Of course, taxes was mentioned there, only once though. But we also have things that talk about laws, government. These are the things that they were concerned about. Court systems. These things are being taken away from them, and they had no say about it. On July 2nd, 1776, there's a vote for independence. The vote passes. America's now an independent country. 2 days later, they're going to debate Jefferson's document, and on July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence will be approved and sent out to all of the colonies, now the new states. But here's the biggest thing about this document. More important piece of this document, it is a promise. The idea is now we're going to try to move towards independence, but what happens if we get independence? What is the struggle going to give us? And it's stated right there in the Declaration.
It will give us freedom.
It will. You know what's going to give us? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the belief that all men are created equal. So, this document will be placed out for the colonies. It will catch on. People will believe in what the meaning of the document is going to say. And by the time we get to 1783, the war for independence will be concluded with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. Now, 4 years after the war is completed, we will start having more delegates coming back to this same building that they pretty much ran the whole war for independence out of to try to discuss what would become the laws of this land, the United States Constitution. If the Declaration is a promise, the Constitution is the intent to fulfill that promise, to try to establish and secure the rights that they fought for during their war for independence. You know, there's other parts of it that will talk about formations of government, the branches of government, how all those branches are going to have equal power over each other. So there will be not only equality of people, but the equality of government as well. But some of the more important things that we're going to start to see is how is this process going to take full moving forward. So now, we have the promise, we have the belief that the fulfillment of that promise. Everyone has equal rights, right? Unfortunately, no. Oh, I know, it's about the promise. See, here's the thing. Many of the founding fathers, while they were working on the Declaration, they didn't believe that they were making a government for the future. They were making a government to solve the problems of their time. They were smart, though. They gave the document the ability to change, to alter over the course of its to amend the document to try to tackle the problems that they could not foresee in the future. Dr. Franklin ran into a woman by the name of Mrs. Elizabeth Powell. She was the wife of the mayor at that point, and Mrs. Powell asked Dr. Franklin, Dr. Franklin, what kind of government have you given us? A monarchy or a republic? And Franklin said, a republic, if you can keep it. Who are you talking to? What do you got?
Mayor.
The mayor? Maybe. That's at least only one person, right? Is he just talking to people in Philadelphia? How about the people in America? Who?
The people of America, we're talking to people in Philadelphia, we're talking to different kinds of people in the world.
They are different kinds of people in the world. You are absolutely correct. But I'll even give you a better one. I don't have it in front of me right now. What's the three words? First three words of the Constitution. We the people. That's what Dr. Franklin was talking about. And he's not just talking about the people of his time, like the guy said. The Constitution evolves over time. So that means the people, we the people, will evolve over time. And we see this. We see the struggle continue on after the development of the Constitution, moving forward almost even through today. And they come back to this building, the same building that the Founding Fathers came in to raise their voices. Many of these groups will come back to this exact same spot. Let's see. All men are created equal. What's missing from that statement? Wait, right? I don't hear that anywhere. In 1876, there was the 100th celebration of the United States. Not only throughout this whole country, but especially in this city. We had speeches, we had cannons firing, all kinds of things were going on. Let me see. I should have her picture here. I believe so. Stand by. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Now, Susan B. Anthony would come here to the front steps right here and read out the Declaration of the Rights of Women in the United States to try to draw attention to the suffrage movement, that the idea that women in this country did not have the right to vote. About 50 years, a little over 50 years later, we're going to see the final passing of the 19th Amendment, which we're going to federally allow the women the right to vote. Right on the square, they had built a bell that was modeled after the Liberty Bell. They called it the Justice Bell. Some people call it the Women's Liberty Bell. And it rang for the very first time on the square after the passage of the 19th Amendment. But it continues on in this building. 1963 and 1965, Liberty Bell actually used to be right here in that bell tower section. The civil rights movement was at its height at this point. There were sit-ins in 63 and 65 at the bell to draw attention to some of the violence that was taking place in Selma, Alabama, and Birmingham. So these, amongst many other things, are going to help propel the Americans to develop probably what is the most important piece of civil rights legislation that this country's ever seen with the Voting Rights Act. But even in that same time, that same year, 1965, we had groups meeting out here on July 4th. They would meet there for July 4th for 65 through 69. Gay rights activists. Let's see, I got another picture here. Where is she? Yes! Gay rights activists, Barbara Giddings, would be out there amongst many other people to draw attention to the fact of trying to get the LGBTQ community to have equal rights, just like the Founding Fathers were doing back hundreds of years before. And these are just a few examples of the many groups that have come to this building, just like the Founding Fathers did, to raise their voices up, to try to continue the American Revolution that fought for the concept of representative government. Because just like Franklin said, this is a republic if you can keep it. So this is the end of our formal discussion. What we're starting ready to do here in a second, head out to the south exit that way. I'm going to go outside too. More than happy to answer your questions. First, second, everyone, thank you for coming out today. We always do love sharing the buildings and stories with you. Hope you learned something. And please, everyone, have a good day. Thank you.
is where they had the party after they signed it. You ever see the bill from that thing? They got ratchet.
What?
Oh, they did? Oh, they I bet it was in there. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out. This is a public service.